Okay, good morning everybody.
Good morning.
It's great to be back. I've had 4 Saturdays away, 3 of them an exhausting holiday with family, but absolutely precious memories and a wonderful time. So I feel blessed to have that time. And let's pray. Lord, we thank you that right now across the world, you are bringing the dark out into the light. We thank you that those who are hiding are having the light shone on them. Those who have been committing the most gross crimes against humanity, financial crimes, the light's shining on them and they've got nowhere to run to. We thank you for that, and we thank you that this is all part of our path forward. And again, we ask for wisdom, we ask for humility, and we ask for strategies and strength. So be it. I mean, if you're following anything with Dan Andrews, you'll see that he's not a very popular man, and less popular by the day, and many places are just banning him from entering. So I don't think it'll be too long before he has to be made accountable for what he did. I listened to an interview this week of when he announced the curfews in Melbourne, which I have said to you really affected someone very close to me. Now, lots of people actually, because I've got a few people down there, but I listened to it, and honestly, I might as well have been listening to Adolf Hitler. It was no different. It was no different. It was horrendous what they did. It's horrendous what they did globally. But what they did in Melbourne is just even more off the radar. Okay, so this week, some of us went to the council meeting on Wednesday morning. I would encourage everyone out there, here, you know anybody, please come. I look at the posts on Mackay Regional Council. It's really hard to find posts where people are loving the council. People are awake to the council. We thank the ones that we've managed to get in that are definitely working for the people. We'll name some of them shortly. But it is just so obvious now that the whole city is awake to council and tired of their lack of interest in the people. So George put forward a motion to review the role of Deputy Mayor every 12 months. And he made it quite clear that it was not a reflection on the current Deputy Mayor. It was simply an opportunity to share the knowledge, the skills, and the input of a variety of councillors, because together they have got a wealth of knowledge and understanding from their different areas. And this would add transparency and accountability to the role, because if you know you're only there for 12 months, unless you're really pulling your weight, you'll pull your weight, surely. So we know that the Deputy Mayor at the moment is not working for the people. We have experienced that. Marty Bella, MIA. We'll talk more about that one next week. Where is Marty Bella? Missing in action. Not seen anywhere. He does the council meetings online by video link, and it was very interesting because just as they got to the stage of voting to pass this motion, his computer dropped out. Funny about that. So let's wait for Marty to get back on. So we're waiting. Marty didn't get back on. So the acting CEO rang him up and said, well, we'll do it by speakerphone. Is that okay? And so they did vote, and Marty voted over the phone. I have since looked into that. It is against the standing orders for any councillor to vote over the phone. So I'm letting you know, council, we know that. It better not happen again. And the only reason we're not doing something about it now is that, unfortunately, that motion was defeated and Marty's vote would have made no difference. So, sadly, it was defeated. So we are now stuck for 3 years with whomever is voted in. I don't even know if that's a fair vote. I don't know. I mean, we know that the elections are all rigged. I don't know enough about the voting in of the Deputy Mayor. That was the first issue. It was very interesting. We knew it would be. So Greg, the Mayor, has submitted to the OIA, Office of the Independent Assessor, a complaint made against someone on council, and I won't name anyone on camera. But in providing that complaint and putting that OIA submission in, he is automatically declaring a conflict of interest. So he conceded right at the very start. At the very start, his first words were, I think it was 17.2, and I'm declaring that I have a conflict of interest. So this is where it gets very interesting, because he then requested, like if you've got a conflict of interest, we've seen it many times, hey Rhonda? You've got a conflict of interest, you have to leave the room when they vote, and you are not allowed to vote. He then handed the paperwork over to the Deputy Mayor and asked for a motion to be put forward that he be allowed to stay in the room and vote. I mean, unbelievable. A law unto himself, I think. So, judging by the overwhelming vote against Greg's motion, it's obvious that 7 out of the 10 councillors believed that this was, well, he'd admitted it was a conflict of interest. So those 3 councillors who wanted him to stay in, we're watching you too. If I could remember all 3 names, I would name them, but I can only think of one at the moment. But yeah, it was very definitely a conflict of interest, and overwhelmingly he was voted against it. He did not look like a very happy man at all, as you can imagine. So we want to give a shout out to the 5 councillors who voted really in favour of the people, looking after our interests as far as changing and look, if there's a deputy mayor in, that's great, they can be re-voted in. It's not like they can only do 12 months. So it's just an opportunity, if things are going haywire, to get someone else in. So the people who stood up and voted for that, and against Greg being allowed to stay in, even though he had said himself that he had a conflict of interest. And we give a shout out to Councillor George Christensen, of course, he would have to be there, Councillor Nathaniel McRae, Councillor Peter Sheedy, Councillor Ashley Johnson, and Councillor Alison Jones. They are the only 5 councillors who voted in favour of looking after the people on both of those issues. So we thank God for the councillors who are growing in courage and are making a stand, because we've watched some of these people slowly changing, and there are others who are behind the scenes and they are starting to get a little bit more courage. So if you don't come to council meetings, you miss a lot. 9:45 for a 10 o'clock start. Honestly, if you're not working, the whole of Mackay should be there. Looking at the complaints on Facebook, well, what the heck are you doing? If you're going to complain, get there, find out what's going on, and do something about it. You know, what can I do? Said 26 million people. We can change the world. Get to the council meetings. The next one is on May the 28th. So that's all I've got for today, but it was a very interesting council meeting, and yeah, we were very happy to be there, and we were very pleased to see these 5 councillors stand up for the right thing. So thanks everyone, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Good morning everybody, it's always good to see your smiling faces. Hello, Rhonda. One of our friends, Bernice, a couple of weeks ago asked me if I could to make an appointment with Andrew Wilcox, our current federal member, which may change in the near future. But and ask him for an appointment to find out a little bit more about the title deeds that are no longer available and no longer exist. And we're told that they've been sold to a offshore superannuation fund. And she wanted to find out a little bit more for herself rather than just hearsay. And I'm really proud of that fact. She's a lovely old friend of ours, and she still has that in her to question things, which we all should. So I rang Andrew Wilcox's office and was spoken to by a colleague of his. I don't know what standing she had, but her name was Pauline, to ask for an appointment with Andrew. And I was told that due to the election, his diary is full to overflowing, and it will be impossible to arrange a meeting at this time as he has no slots available and a lengthy waiting list already to speak to him. He was on the road between Mackay and Townsville and had no time to make an appointment with Bernice and I. I asked for both of us. And I said to her, well, you know what, we are members of this community and members of his electorate, and he should make available us. We're just as important as anybody else that he wants to see. But obviously he doesn't think that about the individual people, because I never got the appointment made. So actually she said she would pass it on to his PR person, I think it was. So he got back to me about it, and he says, quote, "A video on this issue has been widely circulated, and I can assure you it's false. No title deeds have been destroyed. No one has lost their freehold title in the manner described. Australian property titles are secure. Australians continue to inherit real property from their forebears. I trust this goes some way to assuaging your concerns. Andrew knows the best way to deal with these kinds of rumours is to ignore them and not to give them publicity. Therefore, he will be making no public statement on the matter, which is really ideal coming up to an election. There are many people that are concerned about the validity of whether they've got free title to their property, and they all need to look into this matter, because otherwise ignorance does not help you in the end. You need to find out for yourself. Go and ask, try and get a copy of your title deeds from the title office. Natural Resources Office, I think it is, I'm not sure. But it's down in Wellington Street. Go down and ask for a title deed. Find out what happens. Do you get it? Do you don't? Do you not? So let's follow this up. And we will be following it up when whoever is in the seat, the state and the federal seats in our area, we will be seeking an appointment for them after their busy weekend coming up. So